All right, welcome all, and thanks for dropping in here with me to talk about how you can successfully switch careers from whatever you're doing now over to dog training. And I want to give you some information, some insight, so that you can make an educated decision to see if this is indeed the right thing for you, and also some tips on how to make sure that you're successful doing it. All right, so thanks for joining me. Let's get right into it. Um, this statistic really shocked the heck out of me. 80% of people don't like the job that they're in right now. I cannot fathom that number, that a good portion of people on this earth hate what they do. And if you think about it, you spend, 40, 60 hours a week at a job. That's most of your life. To spend most of your life doing something you don't love is a waste of time. I mean, we don't get a second chance here. This is not a trial run. This is it here. This is all we get. So, I think we should. I think we have to like what we do every day so we can enjoy every second of life. And the thing is, a lot of people think that, oh, I can't. It's work. It's a job. You're not supposed to like what you do. That is wrong. I'm here to tell you that is not true. You can and you should find something you are excited to do. And you can get paid for it. It does happen that way, So you don't have to settle. You don't have to get stuck. Don't be one of these 80% of the people who just, 10 years goes by and you're like, what the heck did I do? Well, what have I been doing for the last 10 years? So that number really surprised me. And if you are one of those 80%, I really strongly suggest you reevaluate things and start taking some action to do something you like, whether it's dog training or something else. But find something you would love doing that charges you up to get up every day and go do it, because you can do it. It's people are doing it all the time. I'm living proof of that. Okay, so let me just give you a brief outline of what I'm going to talk about here. First, I want to talk about what it's like to be a dog trainer. Okay, I'm going to give you the ins and outs of it, from the inside. Then we're going to talk about the pros and cons. There's a downside. It's not all puppy breath and licks to the face. There are some things I want you to consider, because again, I'm trying to make you get a real picture into what it's like being a dog trainer, so you can make that educated decision. And I'm going to talk about money with you. How much money can you expect to make? So if you're switching careers, you have to know this stuff so you can kind of budget appropriately. And what kind of expenses will you have? What can you expect that's going to come by, that's going to, take some money out of your pocket? And also how to get started. The beginning, actually that paralyzes a lot of people. I just don't know what to do to get started. So I'm going to tell you the first steps that you can do. And how to get educated. There's a lot of choices out there. So I'm going to kind of give you the truth about it and show you some options. And this is the important part, how to be successful. There's plenty of dog trainers out there that are unsuccessful. So I'm going to tell you kind of what's worked for me and what's, I think, made me pretty successful in a pretty short period of time. I've only been doing this for like 6 years. And my business has grown just about every year, about like 100%. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to teach you the things that I've learned to be successful at this. And ultimately, at the end of it, I want you to really kind of have a good idea if this is the right thing for you or not. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. Let me start off by telling you a little bit about myself. Promise not to go on too long, but I think this will give you a good reference point, of where I started, so you can kind of see my journey and how this is possible. So I started in 1992. I graduated from Seton Hall University. When I was there, I got a degree in communications, had a communications major, an advertising art minor, and a business certificate, which is just like a mini minor. Basically, I got a whole bunch of stuff I had no idea what I wanted to do, is what it comes down to. So after college, I took a job at a New York City ad agency where I was doing graphic design work. And I worked there for about 2 years, I think. I was there. But, it didn't really do it for me. It's not really, I wasn't passionate about it. It wasn't what I wanted to do. So I decided that I really wanted, animals were always a big part of my life. So I wanted to do something with animals. So after a year of campaigning to the art director, I got a job over at the Bronx Zoo. I'm a big animal guy, and what better to work at the zoo? And I did graphic design. I designed their newsletters. They had a magazine at the time, their maps, that kind of stuff. And it was great. I worked there for about 2 years. It was awesome. My office was behind the vultures. I got to eat lunch at a different animals exhibit every day. But it kind of wore at me after a while because I found that the zoo is a great place for the animals, but for the people, it's like a business anywhere else. There's office politics. Everyone, people can be catty, and I just got tired of all that stuff. So I decided to pursue another passion of mine, which was fitness. So I became a personal trainer and nutritionist, and that job I really loved, and I was there for like 3 years. I was a personal trainer, and actually while I was doing that, I started towards the end of my 3 years as a personal trainer. I missed doing the animal stuff, so I actually took a job part-time working with reptiles and amphibians, where I would take like a handful of animals and go to a school or a birthday party even and just educate kids about animals. And they would see the animals, touch the animals, I would tell them all about it. It was a lot of fun. So I did kind of those at the same time, basically the personal training, and worked for this company that did the reptile and amphibian presentations. But after that, after doing that for a little bit, like many people, I got, lured by thinking I needed to make a lot more money. So I took a job with a friend as a recruiter, headhunter for high-level software executives, computer software executives. And I immediately tripled my salary, which sounded cool right away. But I only made it a year in that job. So I made more money than I ever made before, a lot more money than I ever made before. But I made it in that job, that career, the least amount of time. I only made it a year because I was miserable. That year taught me how money doesn't make a damn bit of difference in your happiness, because I had more money than ever before and I was more miserable than I ever was. I don't know how anybody does sales. If you are in a sales position, God bless you. I cannot do it. It was such a stressful, aggravating, miserable existence for me. So after a year, I got the heck out of there and I became a real estate appraiser. As you can see, I bounced around. I did a lot of different things. And a friend of a friend offered me this job to be a real estate appraiser. I took it. It was a good job for me not because I liked it, but because the lifestyle I liked a lot. I never went to an office. I made my own schedule. I hung out in the park with my dog all day. Well, not all day, but in the midday, is when I like to go to the park. So it afforded me that luxury where not having to go to an office, and I made my own schedule. I had a lot of freedom. So I stayed at that job actually for like 9 years. And the reason I stayed that long is because I describe it as I was comfortably unhappy. I didn't love the job, but I didn't hate it. And because of the lifestyle, I kept at it. Even though there was no future in it, there's nowhere for me to go. If I was still a real estate appraiser today, I'd be doing the exact same thing I was doing, making the exact same money I was making. It was a dead-end job, kind of, but, it wasn't horrible. If I had to go to an office, I probably would have hated it and quit right away. But because I had that lifestyle, I kept it. But then in 2005-ish, the market crumbled. Maybe even later. I forget, what was it? Maybe 2007. The real estate market, the bubble burst, and there was no work, and I had to find another job. And by accident, I found dog training, and I did it part-time, and then I started doing it full-time. And take a look at this chart right here, because it will not change. I've found the last career I'll ever have, because now I realize doing something that I love and I'm passionate about it. There's no way I could go back to settling ever again. And I think what I was doing here is I just kept searching for the thing I was meant to do and the thing I wanted to do. And I finally found it, So I encourage you to keep searching if you have not found that yet, because it's out there. As you can see, it took me a long time. This is a 20-year period that we're looking at here or more to find dog training. I wish I came to this realization and found this a lot quicker. So my hope is that you don't take this long. I want you to learn from kind of my journey here. Okay, so there it is. Now, what I learned from this is that I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs, and I love this quote. He says, "I have looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something." And that's pretty much how I lived the last 20 years. So I did a job till I found out that this is not what I want to do, and I'm not charged up about it. So that's when I know it's time to move on. So I moved on, and I definitely am the kind of person that I have no trouble moving on and starting again. I have no trouble doing that, but I understand that a lot of people have that reservation. So I want you to really let this quote sink into you, because you don't want to get 10 years down the road and realize you've been answering that question of, do I want to do this, what I'm about to do today, the rest of my life? And you've answered that question no for 2 years straight. Something's wrong there. All right. So we got to change it. We don't want to let you end up there. Okay, so here's some of the stuff that I've done as a dog trainer. I started dog training. I decided, I think in 2007, that I was going to become a dog trainer, and I started my education. And 2 years after that, I started my own company, FernDog LLC. Then a year later, I wrote a book, which was actually my second book. I wrote a novel in the past, and this was just another dream of mine to write a book about dog behavior to help people. Then a year later, I created another dream of mine, which was to create a nonprofit. So I created the FernDog Rescue Foundation, which is my nonprofit geared to aid animal shelters and rescues. And then finally, this past year, I created the FernDog Trainer Academy, which is my program to help people do what I do, to become dog trainers and turn their passion for dogs into a career. Now, it seems like a lot. That's a lot of stuff. Wow. You may say, oh my God, well, you did all that stuff. That's great, Fern. That's great for you. I don't have the time. I don't know how, I can't do that. I don't have the skills or whatever. I want to remind you that I did all of this while being a stay-at-home dad for my twin girls, who are, as a recording of this, are 4.5 years old. So I started dog training when my wife was pregnant. That's when I started down the path. And it was not an easy journey. They were born prematurely. They were in the hospital for a long period of time in the beginning of their life. They're great now, but it was not easy, and I had to spend a lot of time with them. So I did all this stuff while being a stay-at-home dad. So I did all this stuff kind of in my free time. So, and I'm telling you this not to kind of beat my own chest here, but because I'm not more special than anybody. I'm no different than you. If I can do it, you certainly can do it. In fact, if I can do it, I'm proof that you can do it. So I don't want you to seem like it's I know it seems like sometimes an overwhelming task, like how could I do all those things? You can do it. If you just work hard, apply yourself, and learn some new skills, anybody can do this, because I did it. Okay, moving on. Let me tell you a little about the life of a dog trainer, all right? I want you to read this and soak it in. Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life again. That is a pretty cool quote. Copy this down, put it on your computer. This is a great fact of my life right now, because I don't feel like I ever go to work. It's a great feeling to get up every day and be so excited to go do your job. And I used to, in past careers, go on vacation, and as the last day was coming up, I'd be like, oh no, it's over. And then I'm on the plane ride or the car ride home. I'm just like, oh, I can't believe I got to go to work tomorrow. That's all changed. Now, when I'm nearing the end of my vacation, I'm actually excited to get back to work with these dogs, to help people. It's a great feeling. So I really feel like I don't work at all. I feel like everything is fun. And that's a great feeling. And, the thing is, you want to have no regrets in life. You don't want to get to the end of your life and think, I wish I did this. I really should have done this at this time, because you don't get a do-over. Get to the end of your life and say, you know what? I did it. Whatever it is, even if it doesn't work out, go for it. Take a shot, because you don't want to think about what if I would have done that? What would it have been like? Take some risks and live your life. Don't be a passenger. Be an active participant in it. Control it. Decide what you want to do and go for it. Okay? So let's get into some details about what it is to be a dog trainer. Number one, you get to spend your day with dogs. Hey, what's cooler than that? I always say any day with a dog is a good day. So no matter what they do to me, if they're barking at me, if they're peeing on my feet, doesn't matter. If I'm with a dog, it's a pretty good day. So even on the worst days, it's better than the days without them. So that's a pretty good thing if you love dogs. And another big part of it is you get to be of service to other people. I think that, and now doing a number of things, I don't think I would ever do a job again where I wasn't into directly helping people. And this is why I like being a personal trainer so much, because I can affect people's lives positively and see the results right in front of me. There's no better feeling than that. So this is a great job where you get to help people and dogs and make their lives better. It's such a great feeling, and I think that that's the best way to make a living. And like I mentioned, you get to make your own schedule. It's great, I have, my twin girls, and the good thing is I never miss a dance recital. I never miss a school play. I don't miss anything because I can make my schedule whatever I want. So I will be there for them every important day of their life. And that's pretty cool, because I go to a lot of these events and I see a lot of empty seats there. And those are people who couldn't get the time off of work or had to take a conference call or stuff. Never for me. My family is first, and I will never miss anything for them. So it's really cool to be able to orchestrate your schedule. And you get to be your own boss. This is awesome. If you've never worked for yourself, you really don't know the feeling about controlling your destiny and being able to make all decisions. Now, it comes with also taking responsibility for everything, which means you gotta do a lot of work. You gotta do everything. But it's very liberating not to have to depend on other people, and just to be able in complete control of your journey. At this point, I'm unemployable. I could never work for anybody ever again, because I'm so used to doing it on my own, to doing my own thing. I could never follow someone else's plan, I don't think. So being your own boss is a really great thing. Okay. Now that's all fine and good, but I want you to know some of the considerations here that maybe aren't so pleasant, or not so pleasant, but things you have to think about before you just jump in and get blinded by these cute faces of dogs. I want you to consider everything so you can make an educated decision. The thing about dog training is you get no benefits. So you're going to have to front the bill for your medical benefits. No one's going to pay that for you. So the ultimate situation is kind of what I have right now, which is my wife works in a quote-unquote real job, and her company carries benefits, and my family is kind of under her benefits. So that's the ideal. But if I didn't have that, I'd have to pay for my own medical expenses, and that could be pretty significant. So you got to factor that into your budgeting to make sure you don't get left without medical. You need medical insurance. So just keep that in mind. Also, you get no vacation time or any sick days. Now, you can take vacation and take personal days whenever you want, but no one's paying you for it. So you got to remember that. A lot of times when you take a salaried position, that's kind of factored into your salary, your vacation time and your benefits, but that's not there anymore. So you have to make sure you consider that, because if you don't work, you don't get money. All right, so you got to make sure that you're again budgeting properly. And it's very unpredictable income, because unlike a salary where you make the same amount of money every week or every 2 weeks, this is totally different depending on how many clients you have that week or how many classes you do. So it's very unpredictable. And so what you have to do is you have to kind of put money away as you get it. A mistake I made early on is I spent it as I got it. And then when Christmas holidays came around and everyone was busy and I had no work, I was like, well, what the heck? How am I going to buy Christmas gifts? So you got to really plan ahead and put money away when you do have a lot of work for those times when there is not so much work. And sometimes it's really hard to predict when that's going to be. So it's going to be very kind of unpredictable, and it's going to change from week to week, year to year. So it's considerations you got to have. And lastly, you got to understand that it's going to take some time. You're doing something totally new. This is different. You're not all of a sudden going to just say, hey, I'm a dog trainer, and people are going to just show up at your doorstep. It takes time to build that business, especially in something like a very strong word-of-mouth business like dog training. So you got to allow yourself that time. So you can't be impatient. We live in a very instant gratification type of world, and I'm definitely one of those kinds of people who want everything right now. So you really be patient and understand it takes time to build a business, and allow yourself that time. All right, so that gives you kind of a good sense on some of the being a dog trainer. Now let's talk about how to be a successful dog trainer. So this is the very important stuff. This is what separates most of the population of dog trainers who are just getting by from the ones that are really thriving. And Like I said, I've been able to have a lot of success in a pretty short period of time when I compare myself to some other dog trainers out here, and there's a reason for it. It's not because I'm special. It's not because of luck. I don't believe in luck. It's because I'm doing certain things. Let's talk about how we can be successful here. Number one is you got to get education. Education is important, and I'm not just talking about your initial education, because what a lot of these struggling dog trainers do is they get their initial certification or their first burst of education, and then they stop and they just start working. And those are the trainers who fall behind very quickly. Education is not a one and done thing. It is a lifelong thing. I'm a big lover of learning in every aspect of my life all the time. So you have to continually strive to better yourself. The more you do that, the more valuable you become, the more value you provide, the more you're going to be successful. So a lot of education, initial and ongoing. And you got to be dedicated to this. You got to really, like I said, you're in it for the long haul. You're not trying to make a quick buck here. You're in it for the long haul. You want to work hard, day in and day out, to make your business successful. And it's that dedication that's going to carry you through when times are maybe a little bit tougher, and you're having a slow week, So you really got to be dedicated to it. You got to put your whole heart and self into this. And you got to be really motivated to keep going, as I mentioned, during those tough times. So if you're passionate about it, all this stuff kind of takes care of itself. Because if you're passionate about what you're doing, you're excited to learn new things, and you're very dedicated to the cause, and you're super motivated to do the things that need to get done to survive in this business. So if you have a passion for something, a lot of this stuff kind of just falls into place. But if you don't make conscious effort to do this stuff, especially in the beginning when it is a little harder and slower to kind of build that momentum, you're going to kind of fall flat. So you got to keep that in mind. And I always say, if you work hard and are passionate about what you're doing and you never give up, there's really nothing you can't accomplish. So that's really powerful, because I've done it a bunch of times. So I really am a firm believer in that if you can do these things, you will be successful. Okay, now I know what a lot of you guys are struggling with is this fear of, I have to start all over. I've been doing what I've been doing for a period of time, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, 20 years, whatever it is, and the thought of starting over and going to the beginning and learning something totally new is overwhelming. And I understand, because I have been there. So I want to just share this quote with you from Eleanor Roosevelt, which she said, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. Do the thing you think you cannot do." To me, that's a really powerful quote. And I think that's, fear is something that stops so many people from fulfilling their potential and living their dreams. And, fear is kind of there to kind of warn us that we're doing something different. It's kind of like when your mind is saying, "I'm not used to this. Stop. This is not in my comfort zone." And the problem with that is, if you live in your comfort zone, your world is going to be very small, because that comfort zone is only so big, and it's kind of like living in a little bubble. So what you need to do, the way to really, explode forward, is to go outside your comfort zone, just by a little bit, not a lot. You're not taking a big leap here, but you just, and this is what I learned as a personal trainer. The way to build your body and your fitness level is to do a little bit more than you think you can do. And that was my goal my job as a personal trainer, is to push people just a little bit more, just out of their comfort zone. And what happens is your body responds to that by getting stronger. And then your comfort zone is bigger, and you can do more. And then you take your comfort zone a little bit further, and you keep expanding like that. You keep going. Just like, if you're not nervous to do something, I'm not sure it's even worth doing. It's something you're cool with. You gotta go out of that comfort zone when it makes you a little nervous. You're feeling a little tingly in your gut. That tells me you're on the verge of growth. So I know it's overwhelming, but that's the best way to do it, is to just take that initial step and work hard to move forward and increase your comfort zone, because you're living a very sheltered life if you don't do that. And the world is out there for you if you just do this. So To kind of make that point a little bit, I'm going to go back to my little chart here to talk about really briefly some of the ways this applied to me. So when I went, to the ad agency, I was doing design work, and I was brand new at anything, so that was kind of overwhelming just because I was doing something new. When I went to the Bronx Zoo, it wasn't a huge leap because, again, I was doing graphic design, something I had been qualified and trained to do. But when I went from the zoo to a personal trainer, I knew nothing about personal training or fitness other than I like to work out. I had no certification. I had no education in it whatsoever. But it was something I believed in strongly, I was passionate about, and I took the leap. And in a very short period of time, maybe about 8 months, I became the most popular trainer. I worked in a one-on-one training studio where there was no membership or something. It was just working with people one-on-one. And I was the busiest trainer there. I was booked up weeks in advance. I became very successful in it, because, not because I'm special, but because I worked hard. I didn't let fear stop me. I got educated. I was dedicated and motivated, and I became a success. Okay, then I went to working with reptiles and amphibians at that time, which I had never really done before. Even though I worked at the zoo, I didn't do much hands-on stuff with animals, but I learned very quickly. I made some mistakes. I got bit by a snake or two, but and I was very successful at it, and the programs went well. The kids loved it. So again, I just threw myself into it. Then when I went to be a software recruiter, I knew nothing, and to be honest with you, I still don't know what those guys do that I was placing. I have no idea what they do. There was software infrastructure. I couldn't even describe it. I couldn't even tell you what the software they were selling does. But within 6 months, I closed the biggest deal in the company's history, and that includes bigger than the 2 partners that were there. And I achieved my quota well before any other person there. So I wasn't there that long either. I was only there a year, remember. So I became very successful in that. Again, why did I become successful? Because I did all those things. I went out of my comfort zone. I learned, and I was very driven to succeed. From there, I jumped to real estate appraising. I knew nothing about appraising. I started from the beginning. I had to get certified. That you have to be certified by the state. I had to learn some new skills. I had to figure it out on my own. But in a short period of time, again, maybe a year or two, I became the go-to guy. When they needed something done, they needed it done quickly, they needed it done right, I'm the guy they called. So why do I tell you all this? It's not to, kind of stroke my ego. It's because to tell you that I am not a special guy. I'm no different than you. I did it, you can do it. Anybody can do it. If you are dedicated, passionate about it, and you do the hard work, I'm convinced I could do anything. One of my friends actually was the guy who hired me as a personal trainer. When he met me, like years later, he said, "You know what?" I said, "Why did you hire me? I knew nothing about personal training. What made you hire me over anybody else?" And he said, "You just had a quality about you that I have a feeling that if you wanted whatever you want to do, you would do. If you said you wanted to be a doctor tomorrow, I have no doubt in my mind that you would go be a doctor." And I think that's just because of my attitude, to willing to jump in and to be dedicated to it. But you have to be passionate about it. You have to really be passionate about it to take you through all this, because it's not easy. It's hard. If it was easy, everyone would do it and everyone would be successful. But it's not. You have to really stick with it. So I tell you this just to tell you that you can do this. It is possible. Okay, enough about me. Let's get into some dollars and cents here. How much money can you expect to make doing this? This is a tricky question because it varies quite a lot depending upon where you live geographically, the cost of living, and all of these things. So I'm going to kind of give you a rough guideline, but you got to do kind of like a market analysis of your area. So I don't think I'm going to be bursting anybody's bubble here when I say this is not a get-rich profession, dog training. You're not going to make 6 figures training dogs unless National Geographic decides to give you your own show. So but that's not why you get in it. That's not why people get into dog training. They do it, every one of them, because they love dogs. That's why people do it. There's plenty of positions out there where people do it for the money. I've been there. It sucks. So this is not one where you're gonna have a Ferrari and that vacation home in Tahiti. But you can make a comfortable living here, and what I learned is that money is definitely not equal happiness. So that's important. So money shouldn't be your only concern here. It is a concern, but it shouldn't be your only concern. And it definitely shouldn't be your top concern. So I live in northern New Jersey, which if you're not from this area, let me tell you, the cost of living is kind of high here. I'm about 20 minutes outside of New York City. Cost of living is quite high here. So what I charge for my personal training sessions, my dog training sessions, is a lot different than if you were living in Kentucky. I can charge a much higher fee, but then again, my cost of living is much higher. I'm not even going to tell you what the taxes are on my house. So it's all relative, I think. So you got to figure out what the market analysis is. But I'm going to give you an example. I'll tell you what I make basically. So this past year, I just did my taxes recently. This past year, I made about $30,000 doing it as a dog trainer. And now, the thing I want you to think about that, like I say, that's not a lot of money by any means. It's not if I didn't have kids, it would be I guess okay, but with kids, it's tough. Because my mind's gonna explode knowing that I have to put both of them through college at the same time. So it is. It's not a lot of money, but that's also, I'm doing it part time. That's me doing it part time because I'm a stay-at-home dad. I stay with my kids. I can't work during the day. I can't promote. I can't market. I can't advertise I can't do that stuff during the day. And I have some obligations on the weekends. I tend to work most evening and weekends, which will be what most of your work is as a dog trainer. But I have limitations. And also, I almost only do private behavioral consultations. I don't really teach too many group classes because it's just not my thing. I do teach him a couple classes a year, probably maybe 6 classes a year or so to supplement my income. But if I taught more classes, that would increase my income quite a bit, So I could be making more if I really wanted to, but I don't want to right now because this is what my lifestyle is. This is what I can do right now. But that being said, the thing about it is it may not be something that, depending upon your financial situation, that maybe you're going to do the only thing you do. The great thing about this job is it affords you the opportunity to do other things, So you have to determine, is this something you're going to just do full-time and jump into it? Or is it something you want to just do part-time? I usually recommend starting part-time if you do have a regular job now to kind of make that transition nice and smoothly to kind of, again, build up some momentum. But, there's a lot of things you can do that kind of are very symbiotic to dog training. I worked at a doggy daycare for a long time, something I really highly recommend because you get to learn a lot about dogs when you sit in a pack of them all day. But I worked a lot at a doggy daycare, and I made a good relationship with the owner there. And she offered me a job to be the manager, making $40,000 a year. So if I didn't have kids, I would have taken that. That's a great job. It sounds like a lot of fun, and it would complement my dog training business very nicely. And I would make, do the math there. I'd be making $70,000 a year. That's a pretty decent income. I'd be happy with that. I couldn't do it because I have my kids, and I'm taking care of my kids, and that's my priority right now. But these are the kind of things that come up that you're able to do. I have a friend who is a pet sitter and dog walker in addition to being a trainer. So there's other things you can do that complement it if you need to make more money. It really depends upon you. It's about being creative and looking at finding those complementary businesses that you can do. The great thing about this is a great job that you can do with another job, even if it's not dog training. Like I would consider it also a lot of times going back to personal training just because it's something that I really like to do to help people like that. This is something I could easily do both of them together. So it gives you a lot of flexibility to kind of make it whatever you want. So I hope that gives you a little bit of insight. Again, you're going to have to check out the market in your area and find out how much you can charge. And again, I recommend doing it gradually so you can slowly build up some momentum there. Okay, let's talk about now making the switch. As I mentioned, I wouldn't quit your day job right now unless you've got some money put away, because it's going to take some time to build a business, and unless you've got a nice nest egg, you're going to be struggling to pay your bills. So a lot of times I say start slowly, keep your job, and do this, in your off time, and see how it goes until you're ready to make the transition. Again, that's what I did. I did it part-time, and then I switched over to full-time. And initially, I would start your education. If you want to start, just start getting educated, like I said, in your free time. And I put that in quotes because everyone says, I don't have any free time. I'm a busy guy. Trust me, taking care of my 2 kids, running my dog training business, I also have an online business, and being the director of my own nonprofit, trust me, I don't have any free time either. But you'll find it. You can always find free time if you want to. You got to schedule it in. You got to make it happen. This is not going to happen by accident. So again, and working part-time in any dog-related business is a good way to start because you're building relationships and it's a window. You're kind of going in the side door, into dog training. That's a good way to build relationships and kind of get some experience with dogs. So volunteering at a rescue or shelter is another great idea just to get some experience with dogs. You need some dog time. Those are great ways to do it. Also, find a mentor or a series of mentors. The more the better, really. These are people who have done it before, trainers in your area, or they don't have to be. People think a mentor is really hands-on. It doesn't have to be. You could read a book from someone and that's, hey, they're a mentor of yours. I have a lot of mentors that I've never met, but through their books, through their speaking engagements, through whatever, they've become mentors of mine. So find some mentors. The thing about a mentor is if you're just doing it, if you just go and do it, yeah, you could probably figure it out, but it's going to take you so long because you're going to make a lot of mistakes along the way. You're going to go down some wrong paths. The thing about people who have been doing this for a while, they have the map. They've reached a destination. They have the map. They know kind of how to get there, and you don't have that map. Yeah, you may find your way with how to get someplace without a map, but it's going to take you a long time, and you're going to make a lot of wrong turns. So why not go to the guy with the map, befriend him, and learn from him? So I recommend you find some mentors. And like I said, they don't have to be people right in front of you. I sat down with any trainer who would talk to me. I read tons of books, watched tons of DVDs, went to seminars, and I was fortunate to find a lot of mentors. And I'm still looking for mentors every day, and I'm always looking for new ones. So these are all important keys to help you make that switch comfortably. Now, there's a couple questions I want you to ask yourself here, and I really want you to be honest with yourself and answer these questions really as honestly as you can. These are important to think about. Number one, are you a proactive person? Are you a go-getter? Or are you one of those people, I have a lot of friends like this who, they go to work, someone gives them a pile of work and says, finish this by this deadline, and they do it. They always get it done and they have no problem. But if they were the person who had to go find the work and get it or get their own work, they would just be lost. No one's going to give you work. No one knows about you. You have to do everything. You have to find the work. You have to go out and you have to be a go-getter. And if you're not that kind of person, you are going to struggle at this job because your phone is not going to ring unless you get out there and make it ring. So you really have to be a proactive person. And, are you going to be okay with that inconsistent income? Some people are not. They get very nervous. They get very worried about that. You have to be okay with it and understand it. It does take it is an adjustment, but you can't be stressing and driving yourself crazy with it. And if you're going to, drive yourself nuts, it may not be the right choice for you. And is this something passionate about? I'm sure if you're here, watching this right now, that you are passionate about it. But this is important because passion is what takes you through the hard times, is what gets you by. So you have to really be vested in this. And are you willing to work your ass off? Nothing is easy. You got to be ready to work hard. Nothing comes without hard work. So I just want to let you know, and a lot of these things go for any business, really. You're an entrepreneur. Any of these things are really pretty much the same. So you got to do some hard work. And you got to be patient while your business grows. Businesses don't thrive overnight. Any of these big companies, if you look at any of these, even look at these like other dog trainers who've been doing it for a long time, they didn't just open up shop and have people lined up. It doesn't work that way. So you got to be patient and realize you're putting building blocks together and you're just taking a step forward each day. And you can't jump ahead. It's impossible. You have to do it step by step. So just please consider that. All right, let me talk a little bit about the dog training industry so you have an understanding about what you're getting into here. Number one, the dog training industry is unregulated. Now, that is good and bad. It is good because there is no barrier of entry to begin. You can start right now. You can jump in and say, I'm a dog trainer right now today. You don't need anything. You don't have to be certified. You don't need any certification, a piece of paper on your wall. You need nothing. You can just start right now. That's pretty cool. It's bad because we have a lot of uneducated dog trainers running around out there doing things that are maybe not so safe or not really helpful. So it is a good and bad thing. There's also many different ways to get educated. There's not one thing, like, if you want to go to law school and if you want to be a lawyer, you got to pass the bar. It's pretty much one test. Everyone's got to do the same thing. Here in dog training, there is no one test. There is no one school. There is no one way. There's a million different ways. So you got to just find the way that works for you. There is no right or wrong. There's just the way that works right for you and that you are going to benefit from. So don't let people talk you into, you got to do this. This is the only way to go. It really depends on you. And I find everyone learns differently, so there is no one right way. And the cool thing about dog training is it's recession proof. And I learned this because I declared I was a dog trainer in the worst recession the United States has seen since the Great Depression. It was the worst economy in the world that we've ever seen in my lifetime. And my business has grown every single year. And at the moment, the economy isn't that great. It's still not that much better than it was when I started. But my business continues to grow and thrive. Why? It's because when times are tough, people will stop going to dinner. They will not buy new clothes. But they will not skimp on their kids or their dogs. Basically, they're not going to cut back on their family. So, and I know this because I'm affected by the recession as well. My kids they still go to school. I still take them to special events. I still do crafts with them. I still buy them new clothes. If anyone's going to cut back, I'm going to cut back on myself. But my dog, she gets everything too. I'm not going to skimp on her nutrition, her vet care, her training. Dogs are family members. And if they need to get trained, there's one or two things. If the dog's eating the couch, they're either going to get rid of the dog or they're going to keep it. And they're not getting rid of it because the dog is a family member. They're going to get it trained. So it's really a cool thing because the pet industry has actually continued to increase all aspects of the pet industry as the recession has continued. That's pretty cool. And even dog ownership. I was looking at the statistics of dog ownership. People who own dogs has actually increased over the last couple of years. Pretty cool. Okay, now let me talk a little bit about different ways you can get educated. There's two main ways, really. Hands-on. This is going to some place, physically being in front of someone, having them teach you with dogs, or with dog or a dog's hands-on stuff. In my opinion, this is the best. I think hands-on training is the best you can get. And I think any education process should incorporate some hands-on in some capacity, but it doesn't have to be formal. It could be just you going to a shelter and getting hands-on training there. But these hands-on training, a lot of times, the way it's typically run is you go to a place, a facility, for a period of weeks. It could be a month, 2 months, and you spend all the time there kind of immersed in whoever's running it, their style, and you just train dogs all day. That's cool. It is very expensive, sometimes about 10 grand, and it isn't always geographically friendly, because if I live in New Jersey and this place is in California, I can't get there for 2 months. I can't just leave everything. So it's not always logistically possible. So it sounds nice if you've got the money and the time to do it, and the person teaching it is good, but it's really difficult. So the other option tends to be more appealing, which is a virtual or online course. Then this is what I took when I started out, an online course. The reason I like online is because for me, I was making a transition from careers. So it allowed me to do it in my free time. I can do it whenever I want. At 11 o'clock at night, if I wanted to, I could do some learning. So it's a lot of flexibility there, and you could do it at your own pace. You don't have to squeeze it in a week, in a month. You can take as long as you want to kind of go through it to make sure you absorb it and get the most out of it. So for me, it was a good way to do it. Now, it doesn't mean I didn't do hands-on stuff. Like I said, I went to a doggy daycare. I worked there. I volunteered at rescues and shelters. I met with a lot of local trainers who helped me. So I went and was proactive about getting the hands-on stuff. But for me, this was a great option. And I probably, if I had to do it all over again, I would do it again. Now, let me tell you the problem with some of these online dog training courses that you'll find out there. Number one, a lot of them are outdated. Their written material and is just so outdated because the people who created a lot of these courses haven't really been a dog trainer. in like 20 years. So a lot of the written material is kind of outdated and the pictures are so old. I mean, what I got when I got certified, I couldn't believe for the amount of money I paid, the crappy images that were there and just the bad stuff that I was given. It was really poorly put together. And a lot of it was so academic. You know, a lot of these courses are filled with the studies, with learning about Ivan Pavlov and B.F. Skinner, and they have the buzzwords, operant conditioning, positive punishment, all these things, which, and honestly, who cares? Who cares if I can define if I can give you the definition of pathology? Nobody cares. My clients don't care. They care, can I help their dog? So I'm not saying that what these scientists and these studies did and knowing and the definitions of these buzzwords are not important. I think they're nice to know, and it's a good foundation to have, but you shouldn't have to memorize it, you know. And that was my problem with a lot, actually, in a lot of my college career too, is I felt like, and a lot of these courses are the same, where I feel like they're designed to make you memorize facts and terms and regurgitate them on a test, pass the test, and then promptly forget the material. That is useless. How is that helping you? What's the point of taking a test then if it's not going to help you, if it just all it does is test your memorization skills? Horrible way to learn. So I think a lot of these courses are very focused on that. And like I said, it's nice to learn that stuff, and I do recommend maybe you go back, but it's not something you need right away. You have to understand the principles that these studies have proven, but you don't need to know exactly what the studies are. You don't need to know the names. You don't need to know the terms, the definitions. You just need to know how to apply it to the everyday life of training with dogs. And that's what they don't do. They just want you to memorize the terms. And these courses are very expensive. Some of them, I mean, they're obscene, the amount of money that they charge for what's given. And I was just very disappointed. I felt raped after I got done with mine. And they have little or no personal support. You know, you got to call and find an operator, and then to get someone who's actually, again, in it, who's can answer your questions, is a little difficult. And you know, there's nothing about how to run a business. That's one thing I found. I got my certification and said, "Yay, you're certified. You have all this dog knowledge. Good luck." And I'm like, "Well, what the hell do I do now? You know, I don't even know what to do. I don't know. I don't know what do I do? How do you run a business?" And specifically, how do you run a referral-based dog business? This is something that most of them don't talk about, but it is crucial to success. All the dog knowledge in the world is useless to you if you can't figure out how to turn it into a successful career. So that I found is missing in a lot of these courses. So I'm going to tell you now about my program and the reason I created the program I wish I had when I was starting out, that has all those pieces of the puzzle that I felt are missing. So I created the FernDog Trainer Academy, also known as the Make Dogs Your Life program, to help people not only learn this stuff, but be successful at it and make this a career, not a hobby. I'm thinking long term here. Okay, so why is it different and what is it all about? It is video based. I am a visual learner. I'm a video type of guy. So it is a video based online course. So it's all online, but it's done with videos and not just written words in front of you. But I do have a complete written coursework that goes with it. I wrote basically an entire book that complements the videos. And I find the combination of watching the videos, then reading the written material, that 1-2 punch really helps you retain the information instead of just forgetting it. So I find it's a really great way to absorb the information. And you're going to get a free phone consultation with me where we everyone's different. Everyone has a different path and different journey here. And so I want to help guide you as best I can where you need to go. So I want to meet, I want to talk one-on-one. We talk virtually and we have a phone conversation just to decide what your goals are. I want to answer your questions, find out what your fears are, and I want to really help you get on that path. Then after that, we have monthly coaching calls with the whole group, and that's past and present students. Anyone who wants to jump on the call and has a question, and we help each other. It's really a great thing. We build friendships. It's a great little community, but it's a great way to get your questions answered and get a lot of different insights, not just mine. You get to get the insight from the group as well. I find it's really cool. And it's fully supported by me. I don't have an operator. I don't have a staff. When you need help, you know you're getting it from me. And I'm not looking to take on hundreds of students here. I don't want that. I want to help a small group of people be successful. So I don't have a lot of students because I want to be able to work with each of you individually. So this is it's with me. You don't get anybody else here. All right, and I think that's very important. Okay, so let's talk about what this course has in it. Lesson 1, it's 12 lessons, 12 video lessons. So lesson 1 is all about dog communication, the intricacies of body language, eye contact, physical presence. I have this whole video where I shot footage at doggy daycares and dog parks, and I really slow down and dissect everything so you can really understand what's going on. Then we talk about obedience training. I show you videos of how to lure a dog into various positions, the basic stuff. And then I have videos from my classes and also another trainer's class so you can see our different styles. And that's one thing I like to present to you here is not just my style. I like to bring in some other people so you can see how they do it because everyone is different. I don't want you to just mimic what I do. I want you to make your own style. So I kind of bring in some other trainers to give you other perspectives. So in the obedience section, I bring in 2 other trainers to show you some of their ways. And you get a good example because I show you actually our classes so you can see how we run it. Then we're going to talk about private consultations. This is the bread and butter of what I do, and some behavior modification for the common problems you're going to get, the jumping, the chewing, all this stuff that you're going to have to deal with a lot. From that, we move on to the more serious issues like fear, anxiety. I like to concentrate on these all on their own because these are more serious, they take a little more time, and they require a certain protocol to kind of address successfully. With that is aggression, same deal. We want to really be careful with this. After all that heavy stuff, I like to do something fun. Let's talk about puppies. Nothing better than this job than working with puppies. So that's just a fun lesson where we just talk about what's important for puppies and how we can help them be good, happy adults. And then I go with canine nutrition. Now you may say, why the heck are you talking about canine nutrition, Fern? What does that have to do with dog training? Well, I'm a big believer that what we're here to help people with their dogs. We're helping them to live better lives with their dogs. And that includes internally, helping them be healthier. So I want to be able to be that resource for my client. And that's the thing. The more you are the go-to guy or girl for your client, the more valuable you are and the more they're going to come to you. So I want you to be that resource. They have a question on canine nutrition, the food or bones or something, they're going to come to you. They don't have to go to someone else. And the more they go to you, the more they're going to be happy to pay you for your knowledge. So my friend of mine is a canine nutritionist. I used his insight here to help me build this lesson all on canine nutrition. After that, we're going to talk about working with different breeds and with shelter dogs. How to work with a newly adopted shelter dog, some things that may happen if they have some baggage and stuff. Then I go into case studies. These are actual clients that I have had and showing you the process I used to kind of treat and address the situation, whether I was successful and in some cases was unsuccessful and what I learned from it. So they're real world case studies that I think can really help you understand how you can relate to the clients and deal with the dogs you're going to encounter. Then the business of dog training. I have a whole module on the business of dog training and how to run a business. Very important stuff. And lesson 11 is about continuing education, how you can further your education. As I mentioned, this is just the foundation. This is just your start. So I'm going to tell you ways you can continue that learning process ongoing forever. And lastly, my special sauce, the X factor, is mindset and principles, how to be successful, set goals, achieve them, all this great stuff that all the successful people in the world have, but too many people don't think about. This is really what's going to charge you up to help you be successful in your business. So that's the whole thing. That's what you're going to get. So now what I'd like to do is to take you on a behind-the-scenes tour of the FernDog Trainer Academy so you can really get a sense of what it is. So let's go check it out. Okay, here we are at the dashboard in the members area of the FernDog Trainer Academy. So right here on the home page, you have a nice welcome video from me. And on the left here, you have all of these lessons. Now, when you first start, you're only going to see lesson 1 here. Because I've set this up, every week you will get another lesson open up to you. I do this intentionally because I don't want you bouncing around. I don't want you to go from one to the other, do one halfway and then move. I want you to absorb this. Again, I'm trying to let you be successful here. So I want you to absorb it and then move on. And I've set it up in this order for a very particular reason, because I think this is a good flow to kind of get you through it. So you get one per week, but you don't have to finish it in a week. This is set up as a 12-week program, but no one really has finished it in 12 weeks. Probably because most people have regular jobs and responsibilities, so they're doing it in their time, in their own time. And I don't want you to rush through it. I want you to take your time and absorb it. So take as much time as you need, but you're going to get it. By 12 weeks, you'll have everything. But I want you to take your time and really absorb it to make this really actionable. I don't want you to just do this and do nothing with it. So let's take a look at some of the individual lessons here. So let's just go to lesson 2, which is obedience training. So you have 2 folders here. You have your videos and you have your downloads. So you go to the video section, and here we have a series of videos. So I broke it down into little bite-sized chunks of everything that you can experience in the basic obedience world. Then I have some assignments, some action steps I need you to take. Okay, so that's pretty much every lesson. And in these the video lessons, you'll get anywhere from 1 to 3 hours probably worth of material there to kind of go through. So it's a lot of stuff here, a lot of guts to this. And then your downloads. So then here you'll have your lesson 2 written material. I provide here your basic obedience syllabus. So this is the syllabus that I use for my classes. So you can copy or model that. Then I have the homework sheets. This is what I hand out to my students, my clients. You could use that as is, or you can make it your own. And then I have an application, the application that I give. So the legal stuff, the waivers and stuff, you could just copy or model that. Again, I want to make it really easy for you to start out. So that's how all the lessons are kind of set up. Up here, you've got some tabs here. You've got some resources. This is a lot of online tools that will really help you, that are free or virtually free, that can really help you in your business. I have some bonuses. I'm going to talk about the bonuses. I'm going to wait on this because I'm going to talk about the bonuses you get with this in a second. But I just want to give you kind of a window into what it's like in the members area. So let's go back to the presentation. I'm going to fill you in on some of those bonuses, which I think you're going to like a lot. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about the bonuses I'm going to throw in here with this program. I already think it's packed full of value, but I'm going to throw in some bonuses because I want you to hit the ground running. I want you to make this an easy transition for you. So there's 2 things you need when you start out having a business, and when I try to teach you to buy only what you need and not what you don't, and slowly get more as you get more money and you're really doing well. So the first thing you need is a website. The technical side of things is kind of exhausting for people sometimes. They get really confused by a lot of this stuff. So I'm going to make it easy for you. So I'm going to give you a free year of hosting. I created my own hosting company just for this program so that I can help you, get a website up and running very quickly. So I'm going to host it for free. So if you have a website, if you ever get a website, and you're going to need one, definitely, you're going to have to pay web hosting. So I'm going to provide that for you, and I'm going to give you I'm going to set it up for you. I'm going to install the software for you, and I'm going to set it up, the basics for you, so that you can just then start input your information. I'm also going to give you design tutorials, video tutorials on how you can design your own site. The days of having to hire a graphic designer for $1,500 to do your website are long over. The great thing about this day and age in technology is you can do it yourself for no money, basically. So again, I know it's overwhelming if you're not used to doing this. I was a graphic designer. I did this in the past, so this is something I'm pretty good at. So I want to take that worry off of you and help you with it. The next thing I'm going to give you is business cards. 250 free business cards, and I'm going to design them. What I did was I designed a whole bunch of cool templates so that your card, the way I think about it is you picture your card sitting in a pet store with 5 other dog trainers. I want yours to stand out because that's a first impression. So I designed some really cool eye-catching business cards that you can choose from, and I'm going to send you 250 for free. So the website and the business cards, what you need starting out, is taken care of. I'm going to take care of all the hard part for you. And next, I am in the process of creating a new standalone course called the Business of Dog Training Bootcamp. And this is everything that goes on the business side of dog training. So what you're going to get is I'm going to go over advertising, promotion, how to get clients, how to keep clients. I'm going to go do the behind the scenes stuff, how you create a database, I'm going to talk about insurance. I'm going to show you how to create an email autoresponder. I'm going to talk about social media, all this stuff that will ensure that you can get the most out of your business and take it as far as possible. Now, as of the recording of this, I'm really not sure how much I'm going to charge yet because I didn't finish it. It's going to be somewhere between $100 and $200 for that course. It has like 4 or 5 modules to it. It's pretty intensive though. I shot a lot of video for it. Video tutorials and stuff like that, and there's gonna be a whole lot of a bunch of extras in that as well, but you're gonna get that for free. So I'm just gonna say it's $147 value, and maybe a little less, a little more, depending on my final cost, but all those are free. So how much does this cost? You're probably wondering. Enough, Fern? Just tell me. If you don't know already, my course cost me almost $4,000 when I got trained, when I got my certification, and it was I just couldn't believe that it cost that much. For what I got, I felt raped. So I could never ever do that to you guys. So I thought, you know what, it'll be fair if I just charge half, or somewhere $1,500, $2,000. I think for the amount I'm throwing in there, that's more than fair. But I know what it's like for people starting out, changing a career. I know for me, money was a challenge. So I didn't really feel comfortable doing that either. So for you guys, I decided $9.97. I think $9.97 is a lot. It's really good for the value that I've put in there. I think it's worth twice that. I think it's worth $3,000 or $4,000 personally. But again, I'm not trying to make this exclusive. I want everyone to be able to do it. If you want to turn your passion to dogs into a career, I want to make it accessible to everyone because it's great. It's awesome to do. I want you to have that feeling. But for those of you who are watching this, this video right now, right in January of 2013, I have a special discount for people attending the webinar, which was $100 off. So for you guys, for taking the time to spend with me, I'm going to give you $100 off. So that's an $8.97 deal here. So I think it's packed full of value for that price. Now, I want to make it risk-free for you. So it comes with my typical 30-day money-back guarantee, no questions asked. So if you are at all unhappy and you don't think this is worth twice that money, you just send me an email and say, Fern, I'd like my money back. I will be happy to refund every cent. So you get a third of the course, and you can decide if it's not for you. I would be very skeptical if I were you for any online course that doesn't offer you your money back. Some places will say, oh, you can have half your money back. No, I don't want you in there if this is not right for you. I'm not trying to take your money. I only want you in this if you are excited to be there and you really think this is valuable to you. So if not, I'm happy to refund your money. No one's ever asked me for it yet, but I am happy to do it. So you have 30 days, no questions asked. So I think that's pretty good because I want to make it risk-free for you. So just going over real quickly, you get the lifetime access to the 12 video lessons and all the written stuff. You get the private phone consultation and support from me every step of the way. You get the monthly coaching calls, plus all of these bonuses. So the value of these bonuses is almost $400 that you're getting for free here. So I think, like I said, I think it's a great value. So again, I'm just trying to create what I think I wanted when I started. So if you are interested in that, you can go over to the makedogsyourlife.com/enroll and enter the keyword webinar into the coupon box. Now, if you're looking at this video sometime in the future and it is past January 31st, that coupon code will no longer be valid. So I'm sorry you missed it, but I promise you it is still worth the $9.97. As always, if you have any questions or anything, you can ask me. But speaking of questions, let me go over a couple right now that I get asked a lot that you may be kind of spinning around your head a little bit. So one question is I get asked a lot, and it's actually one of the hardest questions for me to answer, is what kind of training style do I use and do I teach? There's a lot of different training styles out there. There's dog whisperers, there's positive dog trainers, there's clicker trainers. So what you're probably wondering, what kind of trainer am I? The reason I have a hard time answering that question is because I don't really believe in one training methodology 100%. I've never met one person I agree with totally. So what I kind of call myself kind of a hybrid, or I'm like a mutt. I'd like to think I take the best out of all of these different philosophies and training styles, and I mix it up and I make it my own. So it's really hard for me to define. I think I'm very heavily based in positive dog training. And, when I started out, and the dog training world is kind of harshly divided sometimes between positive dog trainers and dog whisperers. And it's like you either love Caesar or you hate him. I'm not like that, actually. In fact, I actually started my dog training career by reading, actually, what made me think this was a career even was by reading Caesar's first book called Caesar's Way. And that book gave me a lot of insight, helped me a lot, and showed me that, I could become a dog trainer. It looks like this stuff seems to work. And then as time went on and I learned more and I got some new other influences, I started to agree less and less with what Caesar was saying. So at this point in my life and career, I probably think I agree with about 50% of what Caesar says. I think the thing about Cesar Millan is that what he does good, he does really good. His concept of energy is amazing. And I learned that working in a pack of dogs at a daycare. His concept of energy. I love exercise and structure before affection. That's so important in this society that we live in. But I think how he handles himself with anxious and fearful dogs and aggressive dogs, I think is really pushing too hard, too fast. I think you have to take a much more subtler approach. His correction style is really not. I think some of his corrections are a little too harsh. So some of what I think he does is good, some of it is bad. But what makes I consider myself an open-minded guy. I'm an open-minded trainer, and I think what makes me successful is because I have that open mind, and I'm willing to understand that, okay, I like some of what this person does, but not all of it. So I'm going to take this and leave the rest. Whereas some people, if you're just like, no, I don't like that person, I don't like training style, I don't want any of it, it makes your toolbox very small. Whereas my toolbox is very big. I have a lot of different styles and techniques to pull from to help the dog or the person I'm dealing with. And dog training is not a one-size-fits-all. It really is different for every person and every dog. So that's kind of a long answer to that question because I don't have there's no easy answer. And what I recommend, I'm a bunch of different styles together. And what I recommend to you is that find your own way, talk to anybody, even if you think you hate them. You can always find something that you like and that you can pull from that. So don't shut yourself up from learning. Keep an open mind and soak it all in and develop your own way and style. Hope that answered that question. And a lot of people want to know, well, who were my mentors? So I mentioned Caesar, reading his book early on, helped me a little bit. One of probably the biggest influencer in my dog training career is probably someone known as the anti-Caesar, actually, is Ian Dunbar. And that's what makes me, as a trainer, kind of an anomaly. There's very few people that agree with that like Ian Dunbar and Cesar Millan. I'm probably one of the only ones because I pick bits and pieces. But Ian Dunbar, if you've never heard of him, go Google him. He has been working with dogs more than anybody I can ever fathom. He knows more about dogs than anybody on the planet. And I learned a lot from him early on. I watched a lot of his DVDs. I read some of his books. And then now I've come to know him a little bit. And he's really, he really has a fountain of knowledge about dogs. There's nobody I think knows more about dogs than him. So he's been one of my biggest mentors. But I've had a lot of different people. Like I said, I've read tons of books. Patricia McConnell. There's just been so many out there. I just can't even... a lot of you never heard of, they're just local trainers. So I have a lot of mentors and I'm always looking for more. And here's a good question I get a lot about people who are just thinking about starting. It's, what if there's a lot of trainers already in my area? What do I do? How do I compete with that? Here's the thing about competition. Personally, I love it. I love it. If there's a lot of trainers in your area, it's good. It means that people are actually spending money on dog training to support all those people. That's a good thing. If there's no dog trainers in your area, I'd worry because, hey, maybe no one's going to spend money on that. Maybe there's a reason there's no dog trainers there because people have tried and they couldn't get it to work. So I like a lot of competition. It means people are already spending money on dog training. That's a great thing. So now all you need to do is convince them that you're the best one to spend their money on. And so how you do that is you just position yourself properly, you get educated, but you slowly ramp your way up. But I love competition because I think competition makes you better. This is why sporting teams, like to play against players better than them because it makes them better. So the good thing is if you have a lot of trainers in your area, there's a lot of people that are possible mentors and people you can learn from. So reach out to them. Not all of them are going to be, willing share information, but keep trying. There's some out there. I mean, in my area right now, I'm in northern New Jersey. It's a very congested area. There's probably like 20 dog trainers in my geographical area, right around me. I have 5 very close friends who are trainers who are in my specific target area. They're right in the towns next to me or in my town. And we all have enough business. And the thing is, there's enough people and dogs out there for all of us to be successful. If I worked 24/7, I couldn't help everybody and every dog and every person here. So we need some more trainers out there. So don't be afraid of competition. All you need to do is make sure that you are the best. So I know that if, I've positioned myself so that my website, I think, is the best. My business cards are the best. My information is the best. I think the value I provide is the best. So as long as you know you're giving your best, you're going to be successful. And if you feel like you're not, if you're like, wow, this guy has more knowledge or this person does something better, so that just means you got some work to do. So go learn some skills, and become the best. There's no reason you can't do it. So competition is actually a good thing, and I actually like it. I think it helps, move you forward. So there you have it. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm so glad that you spent this time with me. I hope it answered a lot of your questions, and it gave you kind of a good place now to start from, to say, okay, am I ready to go be a dog trainer? Is this something I'm ready to take the jump for? If it's not, that's fine. I would recommend, though, that you find something that you love and pursue it. Don't waste another day doing something you do not enjoy. Because it's so much better. Being on the other side is so much better. It can be like this. And if you do realize that, hey, dog training's your thing, you are ready to start, I would love to be a part of your journey and to help you along the way. So head over to makedogsyourlife.com and check that out. All right. I wish you guys nothing but the best success in the future. And, check in with me. If you have any questions, you could always reach me at fern@makedogsyourlife.com. But thanks so much, and I look forward to working with some of you guys in the future. Take care.